Advantages of friction. How friction are useful for us. Frictional force is useful to us in many ways, like friction helps us in walking. When we walk, friction opposes the tendency of our feet or shoes to move backward by acting in the forward direction. Frictional helps car and buses. Due to friction, car and buses are able to move safely on road. Due to the friction between the tires of these vehicles and the surface of the road. Or when we apply a brakes on these vehicles, the force or friction between the brake shoe and the rim of the wheel allow us to stop a moving vehicle. Next, frictional allow us to hold object with our hand due to the friction between the surface of our hand and the holding object. Next, frictional allow us to write on paper, but we find difficulty to write on smooth surfaces such as glass and polythene because friction is very less in the smooth surfaces. Next is frictional force help us to light a matchstick. We can light a matchstick by rubbing it against the match box, and matches is lighter due to the friction between the surface of matchbox and the stick. Next methods of increasing friction. There are large number of situations in our daily life where it is required to increase the friction. As I told you, friction will be increased with the increase in the roughness of a surface. So there are different ways by which we increase the roughness of the surface of the given object. Like tires of our vehicles have groove designs, and these designs are called treads. And these treads make the surface rough. Why it is done? It is done so the friction between the tires and the road increases and the vehicles may stop easily when desired. And these treads also prevent the vehicles from slipping or skidding on the wet roads. Also the soles of our footwear provided with the groove design, so to increase the friction and to avoid slipping, and this groove design help us to walk easily on the road. You must have seen that the handles of motorbikes are covered with the spike rubber, so to provide a good grip and have better control in holding the handles. So this spike rubbers, this design help to hold the handle properly. Sand or gravel are often spread on slippery ground to increase the friction and make it easy to move on them. You must have seen the wrestler often rub a special substance on their hands before going to the wrestling session. Why it has happened? Why they do this? To prevent their hands from slipping, so they can increase the friction between their hands to avoid from slipping over their opponent's body. As I told you, the friction are helpful for us, but it also have disadvantages too. Friction produces heat. Fast moving machine produce large amount of heat which damage their moving part. Friction produces wear and tear. Over a period of time, friction causes wear and tear on the surface in contact. Like it reduces the life of our shoe. A lot of energy is wasted due to the friction. So, to overcome these disadvantages of friction, we apply some method to reduce the friction. So we can save a lot of time, energy and money by reducing the friction. We can reduce friction by providing wheels to the object. Like when we provide a wheel to the suitcase, the friction will reduced. Or providing ball bearings. Ball bearings are a small metallic balls or roller placed between two moving parts of the machine. It is ball bearings, and this is used to reduce the friction and allow smooth movement. We can reduce friction by oiling bicycles, ceiling fans, engines of vehicles, etc. And also by lubricating machine part. Lubricants like a talcum powder on a carom board, lock, cameras and firearm use powder lubricants. And these lubricants fill the cavities and trough on the rough surface and make them smooth. We also reduce the friction by polishing its surface, because polishing reduces the roughness of the surface. The next is streamlining. Streamlining is a special shape of an object. Due to this shape, the object experiences minimum drag. Drag means the friction which occurs by the fluid, that is water and air. So you can see this shape is called streamlining, and this shape helps the aeroplane to reduce the friction offered by the air. Also, the shape of fish helps the fish to move freely in the water due to this shape, because this shape reduces the friction offered in water, and this friction which is offered by fluid is called drag. Some other examples which have streamlined bodies are the shape of car, boats and ships, and the shape of birds. All these have streamlined bodies, so they can move freely in air and in water.